Hi and welcome. In this screencast, I'm looking at my progress on the client's report for Serve ERP, my SEO service oriented architect um, consultancy task. Basically, the task, the contract allowed you to give clients some feedback on some of the strategic goals they would have liked to achieve um, some upheaval in the market through the use of an architect referred to as SOA, Service Oriented Architect. Um, Generally, the task was to overview the technology, provide the client with some of the benefits, general benefits of this concept, this paradigm. It's not really a technology; it's a paradigm, more like a set of principles. And in doing this, you would then generally you would recommend to the client if this was a viable solution. Now this client was actually suffering from lack of management, as we would normally say, layman's term. They don't have any business process management. They are a big company with 500 employees distributed over three locations in Beijing, in Nairobi, and in Dubai. And the customer base is actually fairly large, 9,000 corporate customers, and they are doing this enterprise resource planning software. Now, the task would have demand that we use a grid, something like this, author's name, which would select the references, the feature of an article that we would have read, what would be beneficial to that situation, some of the risks that may have been identified, the risk mitigation, some of the ideas that are relevant to the client, and some direct quotes. Now this grid is very useful in terms of literature review, because if you allow me to just skip over in your in the reviewing of literature and synthesizing the literature, you know when you have so much to read, it becomes a little daunting. Task becomes daunting, and this table actually was a very useful tool in helping to organize entire the entire structure that would be used to do the write-up. Yes, reviewing and synthesizing the literature. So when I look at reviewing and synthesizing the literature, what I see helps me here, but the problem with the procedure here is that there isn't any structure or any table, and you would have to drive a table, which I remember doing from the ASAS class. You would need to drive your own table. Now this table actually helped. Now I'm just going to show you quickly. It became super large with its references at the back here. Um, there was a lot more that I had in this table I removed, because although they were useful, but not everything useful you keep sometimes. um, well, at least in this case I didn't use some. I just removed them to save space, basically. That's why I removed them. Now what I realized after finishing the task, due to the readings, a lot of the readings, you get ideas. So this was not always like this. I didn't have a lot of the risk and the mitigation. Well, I like to say risk strategies, risk avoidance, and negative risk strategies, because mitigation is just one way of dealing with a risk. You could avoid a risk, you could mitigate a risk, you could actually accept the risk, and then you could transfer the risk. Okay, so it's just a strategy here to deal with risk. Now in all these cases here, a lot of these ideas came after, while I read many of the other articles. So see, like here I didn't have any. So it was like a lot of blanks, but over the last 3 or 4 months, this just became more and more and more, and then I got lost a little bit. Now what I found that is not good about this table in Word is that you can't filter and put categories. So what I decided to do is switch this table into Excel, add another column at the back here in Excel, ensure that all these here are one column, paste it into Excel, get it into a nice structure, and put some kind of note, some kind of tag to say that this point deals maybe with the idea of aligning business and IT. So strategic planning. So any other idea as this, I put it as strategic planning. Now, why I did this, because at the end of the day, I'm collecting articles in a very unstructured way. Now, when I put it in Word, it continues on in the unstructured way. And if I would like to find, let's say, all the articles that gives me the idea of structure, loose coupling, it's difficult to say now. I would have to do a search for loose coupling and go through each page. In Excel, I am given the opportunity to put this, loose coupling here and then do filters if the word is mentioned. So many ways to do it, I know some persons may come up with actually more cheeky ways. Let me just run to Excel and explain when I say cheeky what I'm referring to. So here we have the regular table. Let me just put it in. You have your columns at the top there. These things here, author names, blah blah blah. They go at the top. But what I found useful is that if there was some cross-cutting topics or some themes that that you would use, let's say loose coupling was one because that's SOA. The definition, oh okay, SOE is service-oriented enterprise. That was another. Reuse was another cross-cutting theme. Composition, of the services. Integration, so another cross-cutting theme there. So what I do now, this part here, that you are seeing at the end, I'm just trying to get this to fit into the recording screen in a more professional manner. Yeah. So what I'm actually referring to are these topics. That's loose coupling here. LWS is couple COUPLING. Loose coupling is it's about software, not having to rely on the information of each other, behaving like black box. So now when I read through my articles, these are the authors here, and these guys use the word, black box. Let's say it says BLACK, black box. I know that black box here refers to the idea of loose coupling, so I could come here and say loose coupling or loosely coupled. Right. Now at the end of the day, I could filter on this. I could filter here, and I would be able to say filter on loose coupling. Why isn't it not showing up? Or let me just put in some more. What is SOA? Strategic planning. So here I would just say SOE because it's strategic planning for the enterprise. So it's not loose coupling. Let me just put another one here. Loose couple. Right. Alright. Now, so here I simply filter. I should be able to, right. So now I could say show me all the articles that have loose coupling with the authors, and I will get to focus on them. This is a better structure for me, and it is because of this simple reason over using your grid in Microsoft Word. So this is a lesson that I learned. I learned it very late, but now it's a lesson that you could learn so that when you do your own writing, you could actually have better benefits. So thank you. Have a good day.